Hi, this is Stephen from SteadyMaker. We are going to look at constructing the pieces and pre-balancing your stabilizer. Relatively straightforward, but pre-balancing is going to be the most important stage. First, we'll look at construction. Now, the main body of your stabilizer is here. We looked at this in construction. One thing you must make sure is that your stabilizer pitch motor, this is this motor on the side here, is always to the left of your camera. Okay, it's always to the left of your camera, because if you see, you can actually reverse the motor quite easily. And if you put it in the cradle in the wrong way round, you will find that it doesn't balance it very well. So make sure that your pitch motor is to the left of your stabilizer setup. So the first thing we're going to do is attach the base. I've already put this together, but basically it's the two longer poles into this triangular section. They screw in with the red screws to the bottom, and a thick short pole goes into the top here using this black screw at the back. It just slides in the bottom and then you tighten it up. So this will now become the base for your stabilizer. So you have a straight and level base. This will be for balancing and also for putting your stabilizer down between takes. Now you also have a second attachment. This will go to the top end of your base, and you will use this to screw the base into the stabilizer. How do you do that? You just slide the top down onto the top of the pole here, making sure that it's in there all the way. Now you want the flat back to be attached to your stabilizer. So make sure that the flat part, the red handle is pointing outwards and the flat handle is pointing inwards towards the legs. And this means that it will be attached correctly to your stabilizer. So just screw it up so that it's tight on the pole. And then you will need your small screws, your little bag of screws, and your Allen key to attach these screws. So take a screw, and at the top here you will find four small holes, two on each side. These are what you're going to use to screw into your stabilizer. You get your key and you line up the hole at the back with the back of your stabilizer, and you just thread it onto the back there, making sure that the back is in line, and just thread it in. Once you've got one screw in, you don't have to tighten it up really tightly. Just put it in so that it's secure and in there. So already you can see that now we have it in the base. Now you can attach the other screws. So there's 4 holes and 4 screws to line up. Now I'm going to get the other 2 and do exactly the same thing. It's easier now that 2 of them are in because they're already lined up. So let's put the other 2 in. And now you have your stand attached to your stabilizer. These are the biggest components. These are the most important components. So just making sure the Allen key is tighten the screws. And now you can see you have your base, which is free floating in your stabilizer. So now you have your base attached to your stabilizer. This is what you will use for picking up and putting down your stabilizer between takes. And this also doubles as your stand for pre-balancing. Next thing you want to do is attach your top handlebar. Attaching your top handlebar is very simple. You just slide your handlebar through the center here. You will find 2 small screw threads at the top here underneath the handle. You slide that in. Then you want to make sure that it's centered, and also you can attach the top handlebar attachment. This is for your external attachments such as a monitor or a microphone or a light, anything you want there. Just tighten that in place for now. You don't have to tighten it very tight. Make sure that your top handlebar attachment is in place. This can go to either side depending on your preferences, but at the moment we'll leave it there. Last step is placing your handles onto your stabilizer. Now the handles go in at an angle. They slide in on the side there. You just want to make sure that the pole goes all the way through. You don't have to push it any further in. and just screw it up with a screw at the back to tighten it. And I would say that's good. And make sure it's slid through to the end. Make sure your handles are straight and level. Just tie up the handle on the end. So your handles are now in, and then you want to make sure that this is level in the center, and you would use your Allen key to tighten the 2 screw threads at the top here. Now this is the basic setup of your stabilizer. So now you have your top handles, you have your stand, and you have your cradle. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to pre-balance your setup. Now this is important. Once you've pre-balanced your camera effectively, it will take a lot of pressure off the gimbal motors in operation, and it will make for a more smooth, stable, steady shoot. Now you have 3 gimbal motors. You have your pitch motor, which is to the left of your camera. You have your roll motor, which is at the back here. And at the top here, you have the yaw motor. This is how you turn your camera to pan it to the left or to the right. So pitch, roll, and yaw. The principle of pre-balancing your camera in the stabilizer is that you want to make it straight and level in all 3 axes. In order to do this, you will isolate one axis at a time and adjust that axis until the camera is straight and level, and move on to the next axis. You would start with the pitch axis because this is closest to the camera and also where the camera will lie in the cradle. What I'm going to do is unscrew the quick release plate. You'll see a little button here that slides the plate out. So slide the quick release plate out and then attach the quick release plate to your camera. You'll see on the bottom of the plate there's a little arrow that tells you where the lens is pointing. Just slide that on there and then do that up tight. My camera is a GH4, a Panasonic GH4. This is in the mid-range of this stabilizer setup. You can take larger cameras. We've used a Blackmagic Cinema camera, 2.5K before, but usually this is mid to large range setups. Camera is screwed into the base plate, and then you screw the base plate into your setup. You slide it in. Now what you want to do is to make it straight and level, you isolate the pitch axis, which is the up and down here, this axis. So it doesn't matter at the moment about the roll, doesn't matter about the yaw, you just want to isolate the pitch axis. In order to get it straight and level in the pitch, you nudge your base plate backwards and forwards until you see that the camera is straight and level. So right now, I'm just looking, just giving it manually looking, and I would say that looks about straight and level in there. Once you get a straight and level in the pitch, you would then use the side screw just to lock it down, just to tighten down the base plate. So now my camera is straight and level in the pitch. You see 2 large screws at the back here. I'd unscrew these screws, and then I would slide this left and right to see if I can get my setup straight and level. Again, if I look at it from the front, you just nudge the arms until you find a straight and level setup that's good for you. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so when you've got it, when you've got it straight and level in the cradle, which I think I have, when you've got it straight and level, you would then tighten up these here. With the final axis, you've done the pitch, you've done the roll, and now you need to do the yaw. With the final axis, you just make sure that the camera doesn't unnecessarily drift to the left and the right when you're holding it by the top handlebar. At the moment it seems relatively straight, but I want to put the handle more above the center of gravity, which is above the center of the camera. So I will slide this top handle a little forward just to make it more towards the center. And my camera's center of gravity, you can see in the body there, is a little forward. So I'm just moving the handle forward to match the camera's center of gravity. And you see it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Whenever you adjust an axis, this might change the balance of the other 2 axes. So it's a matter of refining and adjusting as you go. Little micro adjustments in each axis until you're happy with the pitch, the roll, and the yaw. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but as close as you can get it to straight and level will help your camera operation immensely later. I would say this is pretty good. I've got a decent enough straight and level. Okay, so the top handlebars are in, your camera is in the cradle, and you have pre-balanced in all 3 axes. The last step then is to put your battery in the back. In order to do that, just slide your battery in the back here. Now, there's a couple of little Velcro straps that will go around your LiPo battery. You can also add an extra Velcro pad to the back of your stabilizer and a Velcro pad to your LiPo battery. That will give your battery a little more stability and ensure it's firmly in. Personally, I've added an extra strap to my LiPo battery so I can wrap that around the battery at the top, but you'll find a strap already in the stabilizer at the bottom. You just let your LiPo battery stand in the back there, and then just tie the strap around it. Okay, and the final step then is to plug your battery in. You'll find the 2 large connectors here, and you slide them in to the back there. Once you've attached your LiPo battery to the back of the stabilizer, you will find 2 power buttons. One is the stabilizer power button and one is for the remote. At the moment, you only need the stabilizer power button, so switch that on. You'll hear a series of beeps, and then your stabilizer will power up. And it's looking pretty solid now. So now you can see that I have my camera in my stabilizer, and it is using the default, the follow mode. This is the stabilizer in action.